All right. So, this is Shadowrun. Oh, I should actually probably count it down. Um, I'm a Elastoid. I typically consider myself more of a theory crafter than a runner. I like to mess with routes. So all the games I run are sort of obscure because they're less optimized. I'm here with Edgeworth, and I can start the run anytime. So just count me down. Okay. Yeah, please do. All right, so thanks to NoReset, by the way, for bringing this game in, and thanks to everybody who donated for the incentive, because we get to see the most powerful mage in the game, Akimi Katamasa. She is typically not seen in most playthroughs of the game, because you get her so late. I'm Elastoid. I'm here with Edgeworth. Want to say hello?
Hey, thank you very much for having me. So yeah, right now, this poor guy has the mother of all headaches.
That is accurate. He wakes up dead, essentially, or he wakes up in a morgue, and
Yeah. I mean, he's doing pretty well for being completely full of lead, though. Like he got shot a lot in the beginning of the game.
that is that is accurate. He got healed, but still, it's impressive to come back from death.
So you'll notice Elastoid popped open that gate outside the fountain earlier. That's important. That the dog collar item is something that he's looking for, and that's only dropped if the dog runs away.
Absolutely. This is a bump to the wall there. This is a fairly old game. It's 1993. It's a noir sort of setting, so it's also got like adventure aspects. So you see, there's items everywhere, and it's a lot like the classic adventure games where you pick up everything that you find, and whenever you get stuck, you try every item on it and see if it works. Obviously, in this game, we know what does, so we're going to try and cut it short.
Yeah, so right now the goal of this is to we're gonna have to pay another visit to the morgue, but they think we're a zombie right now, and that's horrifying. So after we pick up some weapons, we're gonna have to come up with a good disguise, and that is in the form of a poorly forged police badge and some sunglasses.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, any combat requires shades. I think that's goes without saying in Shadowrun. So that there was our totem spirit, the dog, because of most like in actual like tabletop Shadowrun, you choose a class. You get to be like a magic user or a decker or what have you. But in this game, you get to be everything. So you're gonna have all the magic as well. So you have a dog spirit as a totem.
Yeah, Shadowrun is a terrific game. It's a terrific setting. There are you have your typical science fiction dystopian concepts, but then let's throw magic and fantasy, and it's just this gonzo combination that works beautifully.
Absolutely. You can see I mean, I've got the inventory screen up here, but also you can see some of our inventory is in these keywords, which you collect through dialogue. And that's how you're supposed to learn about your history and what's going on in the game. Obviously, we're going to skip over most of the dialogue that we can. But it's a game where you're investigating your own murder, which is a fun premise, and it becomes nailed it. It becomes very important.
Yeah. So that gentleman in the bar was very sad because his buddy had tickets to the hot new concert in town, but was unfortunately met his demise and dragged into the morgue. So now you have to go get those tickets because getting entrance into the club is very important.
Yeah, in order to do that, we need that Lone Star badge that we just purchased from a shady businessman back there.
Now the firearms keyword is also very important because without it, you can't purchase grenades from that very shady man. And grenades make the beginning part of the speedrun.
Yeah, you're gonna kill the king with grenades. You're gonna kill Rustilettos with grenades. Basically, your Beretta pistol is terrible, and anything that has any armor, you're gonna need grenades for. I'm gonna put on my disguise real quick.
Yeah, and especially with low firearms stats as well, which is kind of what you're stuck with at the beginning of the run. It's grenades, or you end up missing a lot. It looks like a gunfight from like a parody movie.
So I'm actually nailing all the tricks now that I'm not practicing. One of the tricks that you saw earlier that I sort of skipped over, I sold the man my leather jacket, but I also gave it back to myself. It's possible to create duplicates of items, and it's a frame-perfect input I found out fairly recently, thanks to Fizztastic and his wonderful task work. So that's going to be probably the most difficult part of the run, is such section where I have to do that about 10 times, or 12 times.
So the concert tickets are in hand, but to avoid backtracking to this area unnecessarily, we're gonna save this gentleman that's in the crypt right now.
We're absolutely now headed to the concert, and we don't really know why yet.
Yeah, if you followed the trail of clues in the vanilla game, you would know that the person that hired you to do a courier job is hanging out here, and you kind of want to talk to them to get more information. But we're kind of just skipping straight to the point. Let's just talk to this guy.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, in this game, it's an easy way to get stuck because in order to find out that he's here, you have to get the cred stick, and you only get the cred stick when you're getting the tickets. So you have to sort of pursue tickets to this concert, not knowing why, in order to get the cred stick and be able to advance and figure out that that's where you're supposed to go.
Yeah, and then your reward is getting stuck in an area where it requires you to pay a fair amount of money or get into a very difficult fight to get out.
So this is the arena. We're in sort of like a not a safe house, but a safe junkyard. And in order to escape, though, like in order to get out, we have to pay. So a lot of people here fight to the death for money, and we're gonna do this not to get out, but because we like money.
Yeah, the duplication glitch eases the amount of money that we need, but we definitely need a fair amount to get started. And there's really no better way than the arena in the early game.
Absolutely. Casually, the arena causes a lot of stress, but in the speedrun, what we're doing is all of these enemies, when they take enough damage, when he takes 6 damage, you see he's going to walk up almost off screen and just stand there. So, like, if you know where to stand, and if you come up with an efficient setup, you can sort of breeze your way through these fights. Now we face the king.
And here's one of the reasons that grenades are so useful is that you basically have no downtime in between throwing them. So you go from 0 to 60 very fast.
Yeah, just like in real life, you can throw essentially 6 grenades at once at a person, and that what makes them so efficient. Oh, hey, got him. I believe we're actually now possibly slightly ahead of world record.
Yeah, that was a great fight, and the fights leading up to it went perfectly too, like the setups and everything.
One of the things that I've changed is now I actually take the time to save, which kills a little part of me dies every time I have to save.
Hey, it's got to be marathon safe though.
Well, I mean, a little part of me is dying all the time on a cellular level, so I guess it's always true.
Where's the lie?
Exactly. So we're approaching the character who for me is the real boss of the run. It's this dwarf named Vivian, and you have to sell him things and then keep them. So you have to sort of like participate in some aggressive shoplifting, and it's a frame perfect trick 12 times in a row. So let's see how well I can do. Okay.
Well, the dwarf stayed put, so that's important because otherwise you end up you could feed the jacket to the gun case instead, and that's not fun.
It's a really stupid way to lose time. It can be real frustrating. This trick, especially when you're first learning it, it does not come easy. I've sort of coached somebody through their Twitch chat and doing it, and it's one of those things where when you're first doing it, it is real hard to get, and you'll be successful like 1 out of every 10 tries or something. And once you finally get it to the point where you're sort of successful, you can still be losing a lot of time on the split, so it's potentially quite frustrating. So yeah, I missed it there.
Yeah, so the mesh jacket is the item that you have right now that sells for the most money. And then we're gonna take a very, very hard look at this shotgun, which is pretty important to get at this point in the game.
Absolutely. And I buy it immediately, and then I say, I'm not sure that I want it. So I'm going to immediately sell it back to him a few times. Yeah, one of the minor adaptations that I made when I was looking at this route was the old route purchased and sold this gun only 5 times. So it was only 11 inputs, and you had another one elsewhere later. And I moved that earlier because I was like, if I'm going to screw these up and lose the run to failure to execute, I want to do that 15 minutes in and not 40 minutes in. Which I think was a good call.
Yeah, there's really I mean, as long as you don't plan on dying, you're not risking any of the cash.
Oh, I never plan on dying. About 6 grenades, and we're out of there. I only failed that once. That was actually pretty good. Incidentally, in the practice run I did right before now, so like a little over an hour ago, I lost 4 minutes in there just constantly failing, and I think I hit it around 1 in 10 times again.
So, I wonder what we need a sharp wooden stake for. We're going camping, right?
Oh, absolutely. But we only have the tent has only just the one fly to it, so should be fine. I just like that when I go in there, it's very important that I ask that old lady for her phone number. If you forget that, then because she has the phone number to the local gangs that have vampires. I'm not sure why she would have the phone number to a local gang, but she does, and she will supply it to anybody who asks.
So just as a life lesson for everyone, don't trust any doctors that take coupons.
Yeah, you can actually get your money back by killing that doctor, but it loses time. he's very competent.
Yeah, so our with some severe medical malpractice, there is now a bomb in your head that's set off, and you have 30 in-game minutes to go get it defused. And it is not cheap to get it defused either. So in a casual run, it's absolutely terrifying, but we're set up pretty well for this.
Yeah, with the power of infinite weapons to sell, it becomes it's so fortunate that the economy in this game is so broken, because otherwise you'd have to like hack computers and do a bunch of really cool, interesting stuff. I'm working on a glitchless route that's very interesting, and I think will be more accessible because nobody's going to have to do any frame perfect tricks. But just
as a quick note, when you hopped in the monorail there's usually a short cutscene that plays, but there was good menuing on the part of Elastoid to just skip right over that.
Yeah, occasionally you'll see one of those transition cutscenes, but that's because I'm not really that good. if I was better, you'd never see it. So we just went and got in order to get the invisibility spell, you need 2 sources of water, one from a clean source and one from a dirty source. And so we went for the sources of the cleanest water we could find, which was from a public fountain. Because I guess there's no such thing as pigeons in Shadowrun.
I mean, there was also a dog in there that was just drinking out of it all day, too.
That is true. I forgot there was a dog locked in there. Like, oh, is this the clean source or the unclean source? Are you serious?
All right, so now we've gone to Daily Station, and we immediately run into these orcs who work for the Rustilettos, and they are not particularly imposing.
Yeah. We brought Orifice with us. He, like, this is a minor adaptation I made. He tends to kill things quicker, and so rather than putting points into like firearm skill so I could shoot things myself, I just put points into charisma so more people were willing to follow me and shoot things for me.
They also take a fair amount of damage for you as well, which is important in a sort of a low percent run.
Absolutely. This doctor is very liberal with his employees. You can see his secretary had blue hair and green lipstick, and he was apparently cool with that. Like that'd be a good employer to work for.
Well, I mean, he also doesn't detonate your head either, so there is a level of competence that makes me confident in his abilities.
Potato detonation. It's fine. Water under the bridge. So we're buying 6 slap patches from him. And that's going to keep us fairly safe. Otherwise, we could die.
Yeah, you do have the heal spell, which is more efficient in terms of, uses and total amount healed. But the slap patches can be used instantaneously because they're triggered through the menu. And that split-second amount of time can make a difference in some of these make-or-break sections.
Absolutely. So we're just doing a lot of transitions right now. It'd be a good time to read a donation or two. Excellent. Yeah, you can do one more. Absolutely. I recommend this game to anybody who hasn't played it before. This is a very, very ambitious game for the SNES, but they pulled it off really well. And now, Edge, can you tell them about Norbert?
Yeah, so there happens to be a dwarf with his hair on fire by the name of Norbert, and he is one of the best hirelings that you can have. Not only is he crazy, but he has an Uzi, and that's a pretty good combination in the world of Shadowrun.
Absolutely. He talks about sure I'm crazy as if it were a negative, but in this game it's absolutely a positive.
So right now, it's time to go face down the Rust Stilettos that tried to kill you earlier, and this is where having extra folks with you to shoot is very important.
Absolutely. And if I could remember to use that iron key that we found earlier, I could even get in.
Just use the secret knock instead.
So that would be a very intimidating fight if I still had a Beretta pistol and no Shadowrunners behind me.
Or a zip gun.
Or a zip gun. Most people who play this game have never experienced the zip gun.
So the only way to get the zip gun is to lose the Beretta pistol before you get to the car yards. It's almost a conscious decision to play poorly.
Yeah, it could, though, soft lock the game, because if you don't have the money necessary to get out of the car yards, then you will not be able to progress. So they give you the Beretta pistol, or rather the zip gun, which is a worse version of the Beretta pistol. And if you try to sell it, any of the vendors will say that they have a bad feeling about it and say no deal. Because they're like, you don't get to screw yourself twice. They won't let you.
So the grenades are also extremely important in this room as well, because you can get turned into Swiss cheese very quickly.
I just threw one at myself. Great. Okay. Orifice took 10 damage, so that's okay. And this is why we buy slap patches. Just in case you miss menu and throw a grenade at your own face. So, on the positive side, we don't have to kill Orifice. On the negative side, I threw one fewer grenade than I was... Well, 2 fewer grenades than I was supposed to, I guess. It's possible to... Like, the same way that you can duplicate your jacket and give it... Or your weapon, whatever, and give it to a vendor and then give it back to yourself, you can also duplicate grenades that way. The problem with that is if you can only duplicate your last grenade, so instead of 6 you can throw 7, and that will underflow your grenade total, which means the next time you try to buy grenades, it'll say you can't carry anymore. So it's just that was the last time we were going to use grenades. I tried to throw 7. Instead, I threw 5 at him and 1 at me. As one does.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So, in case anyone was wondering about that that item that was on the ground in front of the Wasteland Club, that is a grenade with the pin pulled out. It is It is just bait.
So this is Kitsune. She is everybody's favorite waifu of the game. At the beginning of the game, if you just let the title screen play, there's a cutscene where it shows Jake in the street getting shot to death by like 6 dudes. And then just before the Morticians arrive, he's saved by Kitsune right here. She shows up and casts heal on you and then runs away after turning into a fox. So very I don't know, there's some people who are very, very much into that. But yeah, she's also one of the more useful spellcasters in the game, and you have to talk to her to beat the game, so she was on the way.
The other benefit is if you hire her at this point in the game and then proceed through the game sort of as normal, you'll end up with an event where she will stay with you for the rest of the game without costing any additional money. And that's nice because the other Shadowrunners are very greedy and will ditch you at a moment's notice.
Wow, didn't do that before. So we take this opportunity while waiting for this cutscene to do a little bit of a menu. Kitsune is really easy to kill. So we're going to have her wear a leather jacket. Just cover yourself a little bit. So maybe bullets will find their way a little less easily.
Yeah, it may not seem like a lot, but for the purpose of the calculations in this game, the damage calculations, 1 extra armor makes such a world of difference.
Absolutely, especially the first piece of armor, because I mean, we're gonna run into a lot of areas where there are dudes just shooting at you with Uzis, and their weapon will hit you several times for damage of like their Uzis are very weak and do like 1 to 4 damage. So when you're wearing 1 armor, that becomes 0 to 3, and it can really add up over the course of the game.
So the isometric view of this is sort of important. It's very important when you at what point you decide to enter or leave a screen, because you will end up saving a lot of time by spawning on a better side of the street than you normally would if you would have just held left or held right.
Absolutely.
So right now, Summon Spirit is super important to use in here because these rats are very, very, very annoying to deal with otherwise. I guess it's like the clumps of dirt that they're pelting you with tend to stun lock you, and it's just an awful situation if that happens.
Absolutely, and Summon Spirit, as you can see, she summons your dog spirit for you, and he will make an attack against everybody in the room, and that attack can do like 2 damage like it just did, or it can do a fair amount, like 26. So obviously you can see I'm doing damage 2 at a time, 1 at a time, throwing out 26 there. Pretty useful.
So Jake gets frozen, but
we got the... Oh, that went super well.
Yeah, it's important to have Norbert bite the dust in here, because otherwise you end up losing a little bit of time getting him run over by random enemies on the street.
Yeah, I mean, you can shoot your own Shadowrunner, so that's the way it typically ends. It doesn't lose you too much time, but it's always nice. Like, you hope that the Rat Shaman will, like, sort of wear him down a little bit, and if he actually manages to kill him outright, that's alright, as long as the fight ends quickly, because Norbit is also a useful source of damage. If he dies, and then you're just shooting the Rat Shaman to death, you can lose a lot of time there.
So out of the Rat Shaman appeared the Jester Spirit, and that guy is a jerk, and we're going to have to deal with him by going on a rusty old cargo freighter.
Yeah, but in order to do that, we have to figure out that that's where he lives. So our next objective is actually going to be to first talk to some vampires who Kid Snay was helpful enough to tell us know where he haunts.
So the magic stat is something that you don't have right at the beginning of the game. That's something that you need to get. Once you get your first magic spell, then that stat appears.
So we're just going to do some menuing in here and everything. We got time for a couple more donations.
Okay, that's actually fantastic timing. I think there was an issue where the stream couldn't hear me through the last ones. So let me make sure. Stream, can you hear me talking now? That's actually fabulous timing on that. Thank you for that throw. All right, good deal. All right, everybody can hear me now. So I'll do the three that I did before. We had a $20 donation from Maze, who says, "Let's bring the bling bling." Absolutely. Thank you, Maze. We had a $20 donation from our last runner, Savage Sasquatch, who says, "I am off to sleep, but I wanted to thank everyone for organizing this event as always and to wish good luck to all the next runners." Thank you, Savage. Thank you. And we had a $20 donation from Diath, who says, "This game looks awesome. I'm actually going to go hunt for a cartridge online." Thank you, Diath.
So there's a lot of... Oh, go ahead.
Thanks to everybody who's donating. And definitely, if anybody's thinking about buying a cartridge, go for it. It's an excellent game, and I recommend it for anyone.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in the club. Basically, you're trying to get in contact with a secret club full of vampires, but you're also hiring Shadowrunner Steelflight, who is an absolute tank, has 100 HP, the best armor that you can get on a Shadowrunner to start, and can also use a fair amount of computer skills as well. So when it comes time to start invading the Matrix, that's also very important.
He also does the most damage in the game with his weapon. He's all around an amazing Shadowrunner. Worth every penny at 5,000 of cheated money.
So normally you're supposed to offer up this item that the vampire covets very much, but instead we're just going to barge in and kick the door open, steal a key, and just cause all kinds of havoc down here.
Yeah, negotiating with the vampire isn't as fast. And also he lies to you, so you have to kill him anyway, or at least threaten to kill him.
Yeah, you do miss out on the funny scene where he runs through a wall, but other than that...
Oh, I should have made that a donation incentive. That would have been interesting.
But it also turns out that this vampire is epileptic, so at the club, you need to pick up some strobe lights.
Yeah, epileptic, which is not catatonic. If like the first time as a child that I heard the word catatonic was from this game, and he used it when he meant running around screaming. So I got the wrong definition from it through context. Here we're going to ask about Jester Spirit. He's going to tell us his name and where he's from, and then he's going to die.
Yeah, if you ask him the first time, he will give you the wrong name keyword and the Bremerton keyword. So basically, he's trying to get you set up to die a horrible death against the Jester Spirit. But we know better. And in a casual playthrough by hacking the computer in the vampire's office, you know better as well. And then the third time, you just stake him to get a ton of money and some experience.
Yes. And it's important, incidentally, that you always keep your stakes when you're storing them on the top shelf, so that way the stakes are always high.
And for some reason, there's also a back alley weapons dealer in the Vampire Club as well, just off to the right.
Yeah,
very easy to miss.
If you ask him about the Dark Blade, he'll complain about him. He'll say, "Oh, we had an agreement where I give them weapons and they keep the cops away, and they haven't been keeping the cops away," which is surprising, to be honest, because I feel like the cops would stay away from the vampires.
It's probably they're addressing all the noise complaints. These guys are up until 3 a.m. listening to The Cure. It's terrible.
That was actually really appropriate for these particular vampires too.
So
I was gonna say,
I noticed you.
Donation.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and read donation. We got a lot of transitions to go through.
All right, we've got 2 more donations here. We have a $5 donation from Kaishi, who says, "A little donation for some Shadowrun lore for our friends here. The world as we know it is called the Fifth World and ended, or should have, on December 2012 with the Awakening, the return of magic to the world." Thank you, Kaishi. And we also have a $10 donation, again, from our previous runners, Savage Sasquatch, who says, "Here's another 10 because I can't sleep. The Shadowrun run is good, though." Thank you, Savage. Thank you. And we're getting closer and closer to our $20,000 goal. Our next milestone is $19,000. We're only about $247 away from 19K. So get your donations in, and thank you, everybody.
Sorry, you're saying, Edge? I cut you off.
We just did a quick trip to the Wasteland Club again. The reason why we had to talk to the bartender in our first trip there was to get the ice keyword. And the ice keyword is important because we need someone to drop a literal ton of ice into the harbor to take care of some savage mermaids.
Absolutely. One of the easier things to get caught up on in this game, I know that it took me a while to figure it out. They give you all the clues necessary, but I mean, I was a kid. I wouldn't do right.
So that orc, it's very important to pick up the explosives there. It is required, and otherwise you would have to go back to the docks and pick them up again.
Yeah, I've actually done that. That's one of the ways that I've lost one of many runs that were on great pace, but then you forget something. I think I picked up the money instead.
Yeah, especially if items stack on top of each other, it's just no fun. But right now, you just got a bunch of really annoying enemies that are throwing things at you, trying to punch you, and you just need to sneak on by. So you'll notice that dog dropped a dog collar as well. That's kind of important to learn magic spells, but we're never going to use it in this run, so let's just skip it.
Yeah, Summon Spirit is a great spell, as you saw I was using it, but I have access to it through Kitsune, and it takes more karma and more spell points rather to use. So it's just a really hard spell to get high enough to the point where you can use it effectively.
So these staircases, you can run into a bunch of ferocious orcs. You can run into some mages. You can run into some heavy orcs.
Yeah, or you can run into nothing. Mages are on the next set, yeah.
Yeah, the nothing is probably preferable. The mages go down pretty quickly. They definitely have worse armor.
Yeah, mages have, they can have less than 10 HP, which means Steel Fight can wind up often killing them in one hit. So, it can be a very short fight. We just picked up the detonator for those explosives, because we need them to open another safe that they don't have a key for. So we create a time bomb and use that to open the safe. Incidentally, it's not advisable to stand as close to the explosion for a time bomb as I will stand.
Now, what is that about? 20 damage if you do it wrong?
It's 1 to like something huge, right? Like it could be like the most I've seen was 20, I think, but I'm wearing armor, so that means it does at least 22. Now here we have a fight with dirty water.
And that's your second half of the invisibility spell.
Funny that we mentioned it. Steel Flight killed that dude in one hit.
Yeah, just bam, 6 damage.
So can you tell me the correct way to do this part?
So, the switches in this level are kind of easy to overlook. And you can see one at the top of the staircase there. It looks like a little white nightlight. If you push the switch in the previous room and the switch in this room, it floods the room below and kills all of the otherwise indestructible enemies that would be in that room. But we don't have time for that. We're just gonna walk in there and then tell them they never saw us.
This is, I think, the first instance where we get to use the invisibility spell and see just exactly how broken this spell is. Because they can't see you, so they can't shoot you. So you're immune to damage when you have the invisibility spell on. Well, that's not true. You're not immune to damage. If there's an explosion nearby, or if, for example, like a dragon is around, they can see you. You'll still die. But for most enemies, we're gonna cheese most fights with the invisibility spell.
And so, what was in that safe that was so important? It's a bottle of toxic remover, and you'll see where we get to use this in a bit.
But first, I have to actually potentially almost die here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to cast. I thought that the room was finished. I was like, oh, that was fast. No, we just didn't hit the gang leader with it. So here there's a bunch of slime that's in our way.
Yeah, and that is especially pesky is that guy that's on the narrow platform up there. And if there was just some way that you could just sneak by him, I don't know, frame perfect, pixel perfect, whatever, it would make life so much easier.
Absolutely. You would save all the time that it took to get that detonator and all the time that it took to get that green bottle, which is significant. I have spent more time than I'm willing to admit standing there trying to like inch my way past him or past that bit of ooze. I have not been able to succeed. So if anybody ever like finds a trick to do that, either let me know or run this game and get the world record.
So here we are now in the jester's hideout, and it's just some weird. I don't even know how to describe it. Like discount HR Geiger level.
Yeah, those explosions that he's throwing, we are underleveled, and even if we weren't, they would be very good at killing us. So, okay, I told you to cast it. Oh, you can't. We're out of. Oh, that's no good. This is dangerous. This could be a bad fight.
Yep, just gonna have to improvise. Hope for the best. The Jester Spirit.
It hit me twice. For 11 damage and for 10 damage.
Wow, the slap patch is the only reason you're alive right now.
Okay, you have to get him to say that.
Yeah, it's very tricky, and then you gotta hopefully be able to get the inputs on him as well while he's just running around like crazy.
Okay, that was very nearly.
Oh my god! Wow, that was almost dead run if that didn't low roll. Oh my god!
We did save, but in terms of that's never happened to me before. That has never happened to me before. Like I threw like 5 summon spirits at the jester, and they low rolled enough where he didn't take enough damage from afar, so I had to move in up close. And yeah, that is usually fine. And that was one of those instances where it very nearly wasn't. So yeah, that's a little bit of excitement for y'all.
Yeah, so the Jester Spirit fight has 2 phases where he will target everyone equally in the first one and then just go after Jake very hard in the second one. And unfortunately, Jake is the one person that you really don't want to take damage because you haven't been putting any points into HP.
That is true, although he can just as easily kill Kitsune. And the run's, I don't know, potentially less over if she dies. Like, I could hire her again now, but it's just ideal not to have to deal with that. So, crisis averted.
Yeah, momentary heart attack. It's okay. We're fine now.
Go ahead and talk me down with the donation if you can.
I sure can. We've got one more here in the queue. We have another $5 donation from Kaishi, who says, here's another bit of lore. In the years after the awakening happened and magic came back to the world, an event known as goblinization happened. Some people, previously humans, started turning into trolls and orcs. This process was for some very painful, as their body changed greatly. But that donation was not painful. Thank you, Kaishi. Thank you for the $5.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kaishi, for throwing some of the Shadowrun lore out there. This is a very, very rich sort of setting. It's a licensed game for Shadowrun, which was initially a tabletop RPG. In fact, still is. I believe it's in its 5th edition out there now. So definitely an interesting game with a long history, and not something that I can speak with too much authority on, I'm afraid. So definitely thank you for giving that context.
So here we are at the Drake Towers, which sounds like a fancy apartment building, but it is actually the home of one of the 2 main antagonists of this game.
Absolutely. The only one that you really see for the first portion of the game, you know that this character Drake is hunting you. And it's not until later that you discover that he was hired to do so by like a Shadow Corporation in the back. I put an extra point into invisibility by mistake. So now magic is going to be very tight.
Well, it'll last longer, Luke.
It will. I also used my last slap patch. So fortunately, we did save before this. I can't use it until he walks off the screen.
I'll just gaze at the cyber deck longingly.
Absolutely. I wish I could use you. You want to talk a little bit about hacking?
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting activity. You're trying to sort of fumble your way through these purple panels, and some of the purple panels are guarded by what's known as ICE, which is a computer security program. And getting into fights with ICE is very, very or I should say unadvisable, because you don't have a lot of HP, and by the end of the game, they do a ton of damage to you if you fail.
Yeah, they can for the early fights, or for the early computers, they do something like 1 to 8 damage. For the end game computers, they're going to do anything between 1 and 48 damage, which is super useful because even with a completely maxed computer skill, you have a 1 in 7 chance to fail combat with them and take that much damage. So you go in there with sometimes only 40 HP if the karma is really tight, and it's a stressful way to potentially lose a run.
So these guys are kind of being, or we're being jerks on this floor. The auto lock does not work as well as you hope, and sometimes when characters run around on the screen, you'll lose focus and lose time.
Absolutely, the cursor can be real annoying. It seems a lot like watching it seems a lot easier to move fast than it is, because it starts out moving slow and then speeds up as you're holding it down, which can make precise short movements with the cursor very difficult. We're going to heal for safety here. Not the elevator doors. I'm glad that they're attacking Steel Flight mostly.
Just cast invisibility on the elevator.
My issue was that the elevator doors aren't capable of casting it on me.
I mean, if they closed it and you were in there, you'd be invisible, right?
In a sense.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this isn't Doom. You can't get the enemies to infight each other.
Yes, that is not an option available to us. Okay, we're gonna try something dangerous. I just heard the. Oh no, not that dangerous. I just heard the elevator go, so I'm gonna let Kitsune take potentially some damage. She took 4 damage. We're fine. Okay.
So yeah, it is very, very important to menu cleanly on these floors and in the Akimi building, or
Aneki building, yeah.
The Neki building. Whoops.
I get those confused all the time. So, because we didn't menu cleanly in the sleeping screen beforehand, I leveled up invisibility one more time than we normally. Oh, I guess that was fine. I leveled up invisibility one more time than I normally would, which means that it costs one more spell point, which I haven't done the math for. It might be fine, but I'm gonna have to be careful with magic just to be sure.
So the patterns for these computers are all fixed, and you may have noticed that some of them repeated. Some of them are friendlier than others. There are some patterns where combat is just unavoidable, and those are the scariest ones.
Absolutely, it's one of those things. It's real helpful to have Steel Flight here because it means that there's, like, if he were to take a bunch of really unlikely hits and the computer hit us 3 times, he'd still survive because he's got 100 total HP. For Jake, who currently has 40, it's less safe. So certainly helpful to have somebody else along who can take the fights when we need to. You're actually doing fine in spell points, which is good because I have 5 casts of invisibility left. Yeah, we should be fine. I'm doing math on Twitch, which is, I believe there's some saying about how that's always the best thing to do.
Yeah, that's always a good idea. The best.
You can go ahead and throw a donation out there.
Well, actually, right now we don't, so this would be a good time to remind everybody in chat who's listening that we are, speaking of doing math in your head real quick, we are about $1,300 away from our $20,000 incentive to add Chrono Trigger Jets of Time to the schedule. So if you haven't yet, make sure you donate. Thank you to everybody that has. This would be a fantastic time to get some donations in. And thank you for everybody that has.
Absolutely. That is a game that I can say is excellent to watch. Absolutely. If you haven't donated to see Jets of Time, I highly recommend it. It is, like, obviously Chrono Trigger is a great game, but Jets of Time is a very interesting and sort of visceral way to experience that game. All of the cutscenes and like the stuff that would be considered fluff in a speedrun has been taken out.
So it turns out that Drake lives in a volcano. What a surprise. And we're digging out pieces of information right now because we met our incentive.
Yeah, that's true. Although those pieces of information aren't. They're not until the 3rd floor. But thank you for reminding me, because it's easy to forget. The reason that you very rarely see an Akimi, who is the most powerful mage Shadowrunner in the game, you very rarely see her because she. Let's have her heal us here, just in case she dies. You get her phone number to talk to her here in the Drake Volcano, which is the penultimate dungeon, the penultimate mission. So very, by the time that you have access to her, you really don't have a chance to use her except in the final area where she's not super useful. So we are going to see her. We're going to talk to her. We're going to see her absolutely cool portrait and sprite. And then we're going to take her into the Aneki building. And I really, really hope that she survives, but I don't anticipate it.
Yeah, the odds are not so good. And she has like her spell library is just so very good, but it's just, and even in a casual run, it just shows up so late. She's also ludicrously expensive too.
You only have 6 HP or 6 spell points left, so. Oh hey, she survived. Oh, that was a mistake. So Kitsune, she's a trooper. She's hanging in there.
So I forget which one of these computers has the phone number in it.
It's this one. If y'all are looking for Miss Totemas's phone number, it's in here. I don't remember which of these little what you call it, nodes has it though. So, didn't take too much damage there. He took 7 damage.
Yeah, for the end game, that's kind of on the low end. But yes, you'll notice the game said trash data obtained as well. A lot of these computers have just nothing but junk in them. Like I'm assuming you're seeing someone's like grocery list or like fantasy baseball spreadsheet or something.
Yeah, like most computers.
Yeah, it's just stuff you're not interested in. And then one of the nodes has something you actually care about.
So for the previous routes, Steelflight wouldn't be with you for this. So this would be a really heart-pounding section where at any point you could take lethal damage from an IC and die. But worst case scenario, Steelflight dies here, and we're like, it's not ideal, but we're okay with that. Oh, she died. I was gonna have her cast invisibility on me first.
Yeah, almost worked out perfectly, but yeah, those sentry guns will get you pretty good.
Yeah, she usually does not last as long as she did, so credit where it's due. She really tried to pull through here. But even if she had made it all the way to Drake, it's unlikely that she would have survived Drake himself. So there's a big reveal where it turns out that the gang boss who you've been pursuing, you can get his phone number as well and discover that he is not exactly human. Oh, thank you.
So you'll notice that the Jester Spirit was used here, and that's tremendously important because otherwise Drake is an HP sponge.
This is not ideal.
Yeah, this unfortunately, kind of being out of slat patches and
Steelflight
getting frozen.
Is not cooperating. See, Drake has 2 attacks. This one, which could very well kill me if I don't heal myself, and one that will kill me if he uses it. So, our marathon safe strat of killing him is letting Steelflight do it for us. So I'm gonna have him.
The positioning, unfortunately, for this is a little tricky. And getting your Shadowrunners to stand in the right place, it's like herding cats.
Yeah, the game doesn't want you to be able to damage him while he's not able to use fire on you. So there is a very, very narrow spot that you can stand in that will allow you to still damage him while he's using the ice attack. And the world record strategy is to do that. But the downside of that is if you stand in the wrong place, if you don't nail it, he will use his fire breath attack on you, and you will die. It does more damage than the really skill fun. It does more damage than the Jester Spirit's balls did, and it hits you several more times. So we're just relying on Steel Flight here to.
Yeah, every single tick of his fire breath does an absurd amount of damage, and the worst part about it is it tends to chain stun you as well. So once you get hit by one, you get hit by all of it, and there's almost no way to survive it unless you've been dumping a ton of karma into the body stat.
Absolutely. If you have full HP, it's theoretically possible to survive it. So that cost us possibly 2.5 minutes the way it was executed over the ideal way of killing Drake, but we survived, which is sort of important.
Yeah, and so very, very long ago, the street doctor gave you the head computer keyword, and you need that to talk to the professor because he is going to tell you all about the anti-AI program. And that's what you need for the Aneki building and to complete the game.
Absolutely. So, I forgot about the keyword for a second. So, typically we would be going straight to bed. Something that I think would be very ideal considering our questionable health, but we're actually got enough spell points for one more heal spell, so I was frugal in it and we survived. We don't have enough money to hire a Kimi right now, so we're gonna go do this first, where it's our last purchase, and it's my last chance to really screw up the trick here, because no, still like I'm getting it like almost every time now. Now that I'm on screen. I was losing a lot of time on this earlier. So we're gonna sell our Uzi to him 3 times, and we're going to buy the most absurd weapon in the game. The Uzi does 1 to 8 damage, same as the shotgun does. The rifle is an upgrade. The rifle does 1 to 10, and this assault cannon that it's got does 1 to 20. So for enemies that have like an average of like 2 or 3 armor, 20 damage is a lot. Oh, can't equip it though right now.
So yeah, the partial bodysuit also a pretty good upgrade in the armor department. At that point, anything that's on the streets is basically going to bounce off of you. Everything in the Aneki building is still going to do a decent amount of damage to you.
Absolutely. The highest armor that you can have in the game is 8, and that's where you have the full bodysuit, which gives you 6, and then where you go back into that doctor who disarmed the Cortex bomb. After you've been to Bremerton and you come back, he develops this dermal plating that will give you an extra +2 to your armor. So that's advisable before you go visit Drake, unless you're insane. Or speedrun.
So this crazy doctor is just going to basically staple steel plates to your pecs, and you know it works. It's extra 2 armor. It's not elegant, but it's effective.
Absolutely. I don't know why more people in real life don't just have steel stapled to them. So here we're going to call Akimi Tadamasa. This is your donation incentive. Thank you for donating to that. She's the mage. And we're going to just ask her about Drake real quick and discover that her quarrel with Drake is personal, but to fight a dragon requires powerful allies. That is absolutely true, and I can attest to it. My powerful ally was Steel Flight. That just had him do all the work. But yeah, unfortunately, in order to get her for a Drake mission, you would have to hack the computer and then leave the volcano, go hire her, and then go back in. Which is not a crazy idea, because that's one of two ways to get the armor spell, which is how you can survive his fire breath. So we're gonna strength.
Yeah, in a casual playthrough, the armor spell is super useful, and it's useful enough that you may even want to drag one of the mages around with you. But by the end of the game, that tends to not work out so well, because that mage is a jerk.
So we remembered to put a point into strength, which is very important. So we can wear the armor and weapon that we just purchased. So now we're just going to go down to the bus station, or the train station rather, and run into Akimi. So a big shout out and thank you to everybody who donated to meet that incentive. This is one of the best characters in the game, and if you talk to her, she's actually got a lot of lore. If you talk to other people, they will tell you all these great things about her. So she's really hyped up, and just unfortunately, by the time we can get her in the game, there's really no use for her.
Yeah, I mean, it's theoretically having an absurdly powerful mage is useful, but you also have a hand cannon, which is arguably more useful.
Absolutely. If I didn't have a weapon that would allow me to kill anything, then there's a good chance that I would be interested in her services more.
So in a casual playthrough, you could theoretically run into the security guard in the Neki building and just get murdered right from the start, like I did.
I'm sorry. That actually must have sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, fortunately, I didn't lose too much progress, but it's just, you're poking around on the streets, and then, hey, where's your pass? And it's like, I don't have it. I'm just gonna leave now. Oh no, you're really hurting me.
So I'll give you an example of how good the hand cannon is. We're killing Steel Flight off here because in the fights he generates lag. Oh wow, he's doesn't typically survive that long. Oh, that's not the spell I wanted to use. So now Akimi's gonna show her use. I hope. She's gonna cast invisibility on me. And she won't cast heal before she dies, unfortunately.
Alright, well, incentive met. Hooray.
Yeah, so having a Shadowrunner for them to shoot at actually makes things a lot slower here. As you can see, there's a lot less lag when they're not shooting.
Yeah, just you wouldn't think it would make that much of a difference, but in this game's
41.
engine, yeah, having one or two extra characters on the screen is kind of a pain.
Oh, that's no good. How are we doing? Okay, we're gonna have to. Well,
yeah, we might have to.
We saved,
yeah.
So let's hope that we're okay, because I can't afford to spend too many spell points on healing.
Yeah, and that's just sort of the roll of the dice. You can get all the way to the end, and these mandatory encounters can just work you over.
Yeah, especially if you're foolish enough to walk into one. I don't advise that. You can see these are some of the only unique computers in the game, is the Aneki computers. As you can probably see, they go way up in complexity. but also the IC do a lot more damage.
Yeah, they are the longest, and almost feel twice as long as any other computer that you have run into by this point.
Yeah. Just before I got the world record to this game, I was on a run that was on world record pace, and I died to the last. Oh man, I died to the last. IC in the game, which it felt real bad. I was literally one input away, and I have a 1 in 7 chance of failing a combat with it, and I failed it twice. So it can happen, like it's possible that we wind up dying here. We have an estimate that allows us for one terrible death. But
honestly, we've been doing pretty good. I kind of thought the Jester Spirit fight was going to be it.
Yeah, the Jester Spirit fight was our one. That was that it didn't kill me in the game, but it did take a couple years off my life in real life. So, whew.
It's okay. You would have just used him speedrunning Aiden Chronicles on.
So we've got probably time for another donation while we're dealing with these.
Well, we still don't have any right now in the queue, but just to remind everybody that is watching, we are still about $1,300, about $1,400 away from our $20,000 incentive. And to help you get there a little bit, a little bit more incrementally, we're only $242 away from hitting $19,000. So get your donations in and help us reach these milestones. And if we hit 20,000, we will add Chrono Trigger Jets of Time to the schedule. And thank you to everybody that has donated.
Absolutely. How much time do we have left to meet that donation?
If that game gets added, it would be at the end of the show after Link to the Past. So it would be the new final game if it gets added. So we've got roughly about, taking a look at the schedule, I'd say about 14 more hours to reach that.
Oh, okay. You had me scared there for a second.
No.
I was like, if I have to delay this run,
No. Oh no, you're fine. Now, obviously, we would like that sooner rather than later, but there's still plenty of time to go, and I'm sure as everybody wakes up, around the world, because it's kind of early morning where we are. Right where I am, it's 5:30 in the morning, so I'm sure as everybody wakes up, that we'll get some more in. But yeah, no worries on that at all.
Absolutely. Wake up, America. Sorry. Oh man, if I only make 2 puns for my entire run, then I have not given fair warning for what my actual channel is like. Incidentally, Edgeworth, I've been calling you, but your Twitch handle is EdgeStream. So if anybody is enjoying his wonderful commentary, twitch.tv/EdgeStream. It's a place to find it.
Hey, thank you. So only a few more of these to go. There are some other computers and other data banks that you can poke around in. All they end up getting you are ludicrously large amounts of money. But they're like the treasure chests at the end of Final Fantasy 1.
I failed 2 combats and walked into one, so that was.
Oh god.
that is the one computer that has a lower threshold of damage. If I had done that, there's a troll decker that comes out there and he will kill you dead. I think we're fine. Yeah, we're fine. Okay.
Yeah, so in here is Otto the Troll Decker, but you also have a gigantic weapon that is rolling really, really high today.
Well, it will. Like I said, it's 1 to 20 means even when it's going through armor, it tends to do a lot of damage. So this is the final computer of the game. You can get ready on time. Although, again, there is I think probably 1 in 49 chance that I lose to an IC twice. If we have to do all this again.
Yeah, this is just this is a little monstrous.
That's where all the hidden ones were. Anyway, that is time. How'd we do?
Waiting on the official tally, we had 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 47 seconds as our final time.
That is not bad considering a Kiwi.
Yeah, that is a fine time.
Yep, and 5 minutes, over 5 minutes under estimate. So that is very, very awesome as well.
So does that mean I have time to thank a couple people for
Absolutely, I'm sure
here?
there is no problem with that.
Okay, perfect. I want to give a shout out to Fizztastic. He's the world record holder of the Matchbox percent category, which ran in the last NoReset, I believe. Shout out to the Admiral, who has the definitive game facts guide that's out there. Jaiseed and VidTando are the ones who did the work on the route before me. I basically vultured most of their route and improved a little bit. And I do want to thank Edgeworth as well. Anybody who isn't following him, they're missing some interesting content. And also, of course, thanks to NoReset for having me here and for contributing to this great cause.
All right. Thank you very much. That was Elastoid with Shadowrun, an amazing run. Fantastic. And that is also going to wrap it up for me and my host shift. So I also want to say thank you to NoReset for having me. It is always an absolute pleasure to be here and raising money for such a great cause. Coming up next is going to be The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus by Olo 70009 or 70009. Our next host will be Nico's Plays Things. So after this upcoming little transition or break, you'll be hearing a new voice behind the desk, but I just want to say thank you again to NoReset for having me. This is an eternal enigma. It's been a pleasure. Get us to 20,000 as quickly as possible. Thank you very much.